ourselves here at the start of a hefty program to pave the way for greater consciousness towards the promulgation of an Access to Information Act. There are also questions, is it really necessary? We have dealt with some of them at a breakfast meeting this morning, and then only last Friday, stakeholders met here in Windhoek to highlight the need of a related law, namely a law to protect persons that have the civil courage to report evidence of corruption to the relevant authorities. A law which should encourage more people who know of the rot in their midst, in our midst, to take heart and report and expose. The Access of Information Act is obviously, there are people who may question, is it necessary in a country which by, I talk about Namibia, which by the organization Reporters Without Frontiers is rated as the country topping the ranks of all in Africa if it comes to freedom of the media. We take note of this amongst the editors of this ranking with some astonishment and some pride, but I add immediately we are convinced that none of my colleagues and the media fraternity can be prompted thereby to rest on our laurels. So I wish you all fruitful deliberations, and it's my honor to invite Ambassador Milani to the microphone.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Hoffman. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Deputy High Commissioner, dear members of the media, dear guests, workshop participants, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be with you here today, addressing journalists exclusively, which doesn't happen often in my work. But we are here because you are now required to be a catalyst and not a messenger. By the end of today, you will have enhanced your capacity to have direct influence on policy development in your country, which is not a responsibility one usually associates journalists with. The European Union delegation to Namibia agreed to support the Action Namibia campaign because we believe that access to information is an integral part of the fundamental right to freedom of expression, as recognized by Resolution 59 of the UN General Assembly adopted in 1946, as well as by Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that the fundamental right of freedom of expression encompasses the freedom to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. Access to information influences the public's ability to, very importantly, access their fundamental rights, such as the right to education and health. As such, it is also a tool to access information regarding the usage of development assistance. Not long ago, my office received a query from a UK-based newspaper on whether the EU funding is used to build the proposed regional state houses. The answer to that question is no, the EU does not. But the fact that the question was brought to me made me reflect on the media's role as a watchdog. EU citizens have the right to know how their contribution to development assistance is used, and the media are an important stakeholder in ensuring access to such information. Access to information is not only a right for citizens, but is also an important tool for governments to monitor and evaluate the implementation of government programs. In a democratic country, media act as an interface between the government and the citizens, transmitting ideas, checking efficiency, and at the end, ensuring ownership and legitimacy. In many other countries, as in many other countries, Namibia also faces a challenge with corruption. Here, the free flow of information acts as a lightning bulb. It exposes the right and the wrongdoing and allows the government to identify and address shortcomings in public management when exposed. This is why investigative journalism is important. Were it not for the media, we may still be in the dark about many things. Access to information legislation would provide you with an enhanced opportunity to obtain knowledge and information that is in the public's interest and allow you to play your watchdog role more effectively. But let us not forget that with your right, in this case, your right to access to information, comes a responsibility. Freedom of the press is subjected to the principles of ethical journalism. Too often, bad journalism has been used to justify a clampdown on the freedom of the press. Ladies and gentlemen, the media community in Namibia can be proud of the fact that your industry consistently fares very well in terms of press freedom ratings. You are currently #1 in Africa. This is because you have a government that recognizes the importance of a free, diverse, and pluralistic media industry as a cornerstone for democracy. And you have media industry leaders that recognize this as well, hence the continuous progress we witness in the industry. The establishment of the Office of the Media Ombudsman is a great achievement that solidified Namibia as a country with an admirable media industry. It is here, in Windhoek, that the Windhoek Declaration on Press Freedom was crafted. It was later adopted by the UN. One would thus expect the Namibian media industry to continue being a trailblazer on the African continent and beyond. I would like to thank the Media Institute of Southern Africa and its partners for this initiative and express my hope that it will result in concerted action towards the achievement of access to information legislation. And my written speech comes to here. I also wanted to, off the record, share a few ideas with you. Diplomats and journalists are often seen as enemies, but are friends because they play in the same turf. We deal with information, we deal with the interest in the public good, and we share some degree of influence as regards public action. In this condition, as a friend and as a colleague of you, I have the same wish and the same difficulty sometimes to get to the information in Namibia. I think Namibia would benefit from reinforcing the culture of openness, to improve the capacity of the public bodies to offer information, and of course also to reinforce the responsibility of both the media, also the diplomatic missions, to use this information responsibly. In sum, the question is that it would be, we understand it would be for the benefit of all of us that the government and the public bodies of Namibia would be able to tell their story. The European Union bodies invest heavily in providing information for the journalists. Every commissioner has a spokesperson service. The European Parliament has a massive media service with sectors for every item of European interest, different